people, my name is Adefolaju Emmanuel. I'm going to be your instructor. Today I want us to learn about Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is an interesting application to learn. It is one of the most popular examples of what is called spreadsheet. So if you have Microsoft Excel installed on your system, all you need to do is go to search box right here and type Excel. Now it depends on the version of Excel that you have on your laptop or on your system. So right here I have 2013 and I have Office 365. So I'm going to click, which is also similar to Microsoft's latest version 2021. Now after launching your Excel, this is the first page that you are going to see. Now on this page you have home, new, open, then you have your account section, feedback and options. So now for beginner, I want you to concentrate at the top here. If you want to create a workbook in Microsoft Excel, you can create a workbook from a blank workbook, as you can see, or you can create a workbook from an existing template or already made template. Now we have all kinds of templates in Microsoft Excel. If you want to create an expense report, you can click on expense report and edit it. So if I click on expense report, this is an example of a template that you can edit. So all you need to do is just to type and start editing. So whatever you type is going to replace what you have there. That is why it's template. You can change this to whatever you want to change it to. Now that's if you are preparing your workbook using a template. If you want to create a billing statement, now if you need more templates, click on more templates and you see more templates. You have loan amortization, you have billing statements, and if your system is connected online, you have access to hundreds of templates. If you don't want to use templates, you want to create your workbook by yourself, then you click on blank workbook. Clicking on blank workbook, as you can see, you don't have any data here. So it means everything we are going to be creating, we are going to be doing it ourselves. Now let's look at the Excel environment. Let's look at an overview of this environment. At the top here, you have what is called Quick Access Toolbar. Now, but right now, my Quick Access Toolbar is at the bottom right here. So I can move it up by clicking, and we go to this option, Show Above the Ribbon. So as you can see here, I have my Quick Access Toolbar. So you can leave it at the top or you move it to the bottom. Now in Quick Access Toolbar, you can actually customize your Quick Access Toolbar. It depends on the tools you use often. Like I have my undo here, I have redo, I have page setup, superscript, subscript, I have calculator, and I have a page border. Now what you have here is referred to as Quick Access Toolbar. It gives you access to tools that you can easily use to manipulate the content of your worksheet. So you can add more to these tools right here. Now the next part of the top bar is you have the book 1 here, which is the name of this workbook. if you save, if I go to my file and I click on save, if I select a location on my system, let me save it on desktop, and I give it a name. Let me give it Tongues, and I click on save. As you can see, the title has changed to Tongues and you have saved. So this section here is the title bar, so you can save your work. Alright, now here you have the search. The search bar is not in older version. So if you are using 2010 to 27, you might not see the search bar, or if you are using 2019, the search bar is there, 2019, 2021. Now the search bar is useful if you are looking for a tool. For example, bold is going to bring it up, and you can apply bold directly from the search bar. You can see the shortcut is also displaying. So if I type a word here, if I type sales, and I want to apply bold to this sales, and I can't locate, I'm unable to locate bold, I can easily type it here and click on it, and it's going to apply. As you can see, it's going to apply bold to my text. Alright, so here you have if you have your account name if you are signed in, and here you have minimize, maximize, and exit button. Now we have the tabs, different tabs: home, insert, draw, page layout. Under each tab you have the ribbon. You have the ribbon. If you click on insert tab, you have the ribbon, and within the ribbon you have command groups: undo, clipboard, font, alignment, numbers. If you go to data, you have the ribbon as well. Data types, data tools, and so on. Now right here you have the work area. You have the work area here. It is where you enter your data, and all the manipulations, formula and calculation take place. Now at the top here you have your cell name or your cell address. So if I type name here, I type John, name, where I type my name, the cell name or the cell address is B2. You can see B2. B2. So you have B2 right here. So that is the cell name. Where I have John, that is B3. So if I have a data here, it will be C3. Now, each of the box that you have here is referred to as cell. A cell is intersection between rows and column. A cell is intersection between a row and a column. Now, row are horizontal section of your worksheet, while column are the vertical section of your worksheet. Now this particular box, you can see this thick rectangle, this thick line around this particular box. This is called active cell. So this particular cell is my active cell. It means I can type whatever I want to type inside this cell. Alright, now at the bottom here you have three views. The first one is a normal view. The second one is page layout view. We come back to this in our later lesson. The third one is page break view. We are going to be looking at this as well in another lesson. Now here you have the zoom. You can zoom in, you can zoom a workbook, and you have the scroll bar. So the Excel sheet, your Excel sheet is actually very large. The rows contain more than you have more than 1 million rows, so you can actually take a lot of data. If you continue to scroll down, you're going to see, let me do page down. If I press page down, it's going to keep going. So you have a lot of space to work with. You're going to do page up. So the first cell is A1. The first cell is A1. So you can even type if I type A2000, it's going to take me to this address or this cell A2000. So if you are working within your worksheet and want to go back to the beginning, you can just type into this box A1 and hit the enter. It's going to take you back to the top of the page. Now the difference between workbook and worksheet. Now workbook, this is the whole of this is referred to as workbook. Now inside your workbook you can have as many sheets as possible. By default in 2021 and 2019 you have sheet 1. In 2007 by default you have sheet 3. So if you need more sheets, you can click on this plus button and you have more sheets. This is sheet 2, this is sheet 3. Now sheet 1, you can rename it by right clicking and you click on rename. So you can just label this sales report. Sheet 2 as well can be renamed. I can rename sheet 2 to summary. Rename summary. Apart from renaming the sheet, you can actually give it a color as well. So you have let me give it this color so as you can see. So you can rename your sheet and also give it a color. So your workbook is the entire Excel book, while your worksheets are different sheets that you work on within the workbook, just like you have your normal notebook. So the entire notebook is the same thing as your workbook, while the sheet of paper, each sheet, so like we have 40 sheets, 80 sheets. So workbook is the entire spreadsheet application, while your sheets are what you actually work on. So I want to believe that I've touched all the main area. So in this first lesson, which is overview of Microsoft Excel. So like I said, the top part here is your the top part is quick access toolbar. Then you have your search, you have your title bar, you have minimize, maximize, and exit button. Then you have your tabs, your ribbon, your work area, and we talk about the 3 views that we have down here and the zoom. Then we also talk about cell. A cell is intersection between a row and a column. Then I also say that a column is the vertical aspect of your worksheet, while your row is the horizontal aspect of your worksheet. So I want you to try and launch Microsoft Excel, and also check out these different sections that we have in Microsoft Excel, and I'll see you in the next lesson. To enter data in Microsoft Excel, you enter data in what we call cell. So this is an active cell, and a cell is an intersection between a row and a column. It depends on the type of data that you want to enter in Excel. If you want to enter an heading, for example, row A to column A to G, and at the top here under alignment, you're going to see merge and center. So if I click on merge, it's going to clear all the lines, and I can type mathematics score. That's if this is what I want to prepare with my Excel. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to enter name. So this is how you enter data in Excel. And over here I'm going to enter test 1, test 2, and I'm going to have my total here. Also, I can start entering the name. I can enter Johnson. I have a Martha. I have Cynthia. And I have John. Then I can enter the left, while number to the right. Also in data entry, you can actually enter 3 types of data in Microsoft Excel. You can enter text, you can enter number, and you can enter formula. So these are the 3 basic data you can enter in Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to continue entering my data. I have 16 here for test 2. I have 15, then I have 13, I have 17, and I have 20. Then I have my total. Now, this cell here is not the normal cell size. Now let's assume after entering your name, and the length of the name is more than the size of the cell. Now what you can do is to move your mouse to the line between column A and column B. You have this line, and once your cursor turns this arrow, you can double click. So when you double click, the cell is going to expand to accommodate the length of the name that you have typed. So another example is if I type English language. If I type English language, for example, now you see the word English language is more than this cell. So for you to expand the cell, you can move your cursor to this point. There's a line between column F and G, and double click, or you just hold down your mouse and drag to expand the cell. So that is how you type. Now also, if you want okay, another way is, let me undo. If I still have my English and I want my English to be within this cell, but I want it to be wrapped, in this cell. Click on the cell. At the top here, above merge and center, you have wrap text. So once you click on wrap text, it's going to wrap it around that cell, and then you have something like this. So you can adjust it. So I'm going to undo. So that's another way to enter a lengthy word in your cell. Now another thing I want to point out is if you have your name and you want it to be you don't want the name to be in horizontal form, you want it to be in vertical form. That is, the name that you have here is horizontal right now. If you want it to be vertical, just click on the cell that you have the text in, and you can go to where you have orientation and click on this arrow. Then you have different direction that you can have your text. So if you click here, you can see that is vertical, and here we have angle counterclockwise, something like this. So you can do same for the rest of the text. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to do the same for this and do the same for this. So you can also edit and format your text. If you want to type something else here, just click on it and type. Let's say I want to type Tunde. Click on it and start typing. So if you want to edit the content of your cell, you can come right here and edit. Let's say this is supposed to be Matthew. You can delete this and change it to Matthew, because if you want to edit it directly, it's going to clear all the content. Let's say you want to edit just you want to remove a single T, so you just come to your formula bar and click to remove the single T. Now, just like in Microsoft Word, you can edit your cell or your merge cell. Also, you can unmerge your cell. Now, I merged a couple of cells here to get this heading. So if you want to unmerge your cell, you go through the same method. You go to merge and center. It's always under the alignment command group. So you click and you're going to see unmerge cells. So if you click on unmerge cells, it's going to unmerge the cell, and you have the lines back. So, but I'm going to merge and centralize it. So you can add fill color. You can add fill color of your choice. You can change the text color as well. You can change the text color. About entering data in Microsoft Excel. Don't forget, I said there are 3 data you can enter in Microsoft Excel. You have your text, you have your number, and you have a formula. To enter formula in Microsoft Excel, you must start with equal to. You must start with equal to. Okay, so when we talk about ranges in Microsoft Excel, we are just talking about selecting group of cells. Like this, I selected from this A2 to C6. So that is that's a range. Okay. So you have when you select across a set of cells, it is what a range. So this could be a range. This could be a range of, you have C3 to C6, between B3 to C3. So basically what we refer to as range is just when you select a group of cells, a group of connected cells. That is what range is all about. Now let's discuss about mouse functions in Microsoft Excel. Now your mouse is very powerful in Microsoft Excel. You can use your mouse to move content of a cell. Like this particular cell, I can move it. I can move the content of that cell to this point. You can see that once this mouse turns this black cross, I can move it back. Then also with the mouse, you can actually adjust your cell width with the mouse. Then also there's what we call fill handle. So if I want to calculate this profit, for example, I'm going to enter equal to, then I'm going to select my expenses minus my sales, and I'll hit the enter key. Now 500 is the answer. So for me to, instead of me calculating these and calculating this, I can just use the fill handle to fill in the answer. So that is what we call relative value. So I'm going to put my mouse at this edge where you have this dot, and once your mouse turn to this dark cross, you can click and drag down. It's going to fill in the rest of the answers, and you can see if you double click, you are going to see the formula. This is C3 minus B3. If you click here, you're going to see C4 minus B4. We call these relative reference. We also have absolute reference. We're going to talk about that later. So, but this is relative reference. You can see from this formula I've been able to fill in the rest of my option. I double click to review the formula in this cell. So you can see, if you have up to 1000 record, you can do the same. So if I want to calculate total, and enter equal to and select and press plus, select this, plus again, select, plus, select, and enter. Hit the enter key. I have this. So I can also, once I move my mouse to this edge and it turns to this black cross, I can now drag to fill in the rest, as you can see. So these are some of the mouse features that we have in Microsoft Excel. Now also, if you enter date, for example, let me enter January. I'll enter January, and if you can feel, so I enter January here, and I go to my number under home number. If I change this to date, if I change this to short dates, I can use the mouse to autofill from January to December. So these are the things you can do with your mouse in Microsoft. There are other features of a mouse. As we go into the lessons, you are going to learn more about your mouse features. Now the next lesson I want us to look at is formulas and functions. Formulas and functions. Now that we know how to enter data in Microsoft Excel, and also we've seen some of the features of our mouse. So in formulas and functions, we'll be doing basic calculations in formulas and functions. So formulas are just example of a formula is if I want to calculate sum here, for example, I want to calculate the total of sales. I'm going to put my mouse in front of where I have total. I actually typed this so you can enter this. So I'm going to, like I said, if you want to calculate in Microsoft Excel, the first thing you do is to enter equal to. So if I want to use a formula, I'm going to click on my first cell and press plus, click the second plus, click the third plus, and click the fourth and hit enter key. Now this is formula for adding B2 to B5, but instead I can use a function. So a function is when you put a word before a formula. That is when it becomes a function, and we have more than 200 functions in Microsoft Excel. If you move your mouse to this point, click on this function to show you all the functions that we have in Microsoft Excel. If you continue to move down, you discover that we have more functions. These are the most recent used function. You see sum, average, if, count, max, and so on. But if you click on all functions, you have so many functions that you can work with. Here you have if I get the sum of of our sales. So I'm going to enter equal to, and then I will type a function which is sum. I'm going to open a bracket and select this range and close the bracket and hit my enter key. Now you can see it gives me the same result. So that is even between a formula and a function. A function must have a word in front of the range or in front of the whatever formula you're going to use. So you have sum, average, maximum, minimum, you have a count, if, and so on and so forth. So we're going to look at some basic formulas and functions here. Then another thing I want us to note is that in Microsoft Excel, there's an order to how your formula works. So if you are trying to calculate something and it has a bracket, it's going to take care of the bracket first, and this is an exponent. The next thing is going to solve is the exponent section before going to multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So this is a format, or this is the order in which Excel perform calculations on your formulas and function. So here you have parentheses. It's going to look at the parentheses first and solve it. Then after that, it's going to look at exponent, then multiplication, asterisk, addition, and subtraction, just like we have in mathematics, board mass. Okay. So now the first function I want us to look at is a sum function. I've actually used the sum function to calculate what we have here. So like I said, in a mouse feature, that you can use your mouse to fill in this. Okay, so to calculate our profit is we're going to take away our sale from our expenses. So like I said, the first thing you do is to enter equal to, then you now have your expenses minus your sale, and you click enter to get that. So I'm going to use my mouse to drag down to fill in the other answer. So now the next thing I want us to look at, so that I'll be able to explain this order of calculation in Microsoft Excel. If you are looking at a May projection, for example, so I'm going to have my equal to January plus my February divided by 2 to get my May projection. So if I hit the enter key, right now, I do not think this is correct, because if you look at the way it calculates it, it's going to first solve B3 divided by 2. Now adding the result to, so our B3 is 500. 500 divided by 2 is going to give you 250. So 250 plus B2, which is 2000, will give you 2250. That's what we have here. But is that the answer? No, that isn't the answer, because it's following this order to solve our May projection. But what we can do is you can adjust the formula. How can we adjust the formula? By putting brackets here. So if you put brackets here and you put another bracket here and you hit the enter key, you can see that our answer is not the same, because now is dealing with the brackets first. It's going to add these two first before dividing by 2. And that is why if you are entering formula in Microsoft Excel, you must take cognizance of the order in which Microsoft Excel perform calculation in calculations. All right. So the next thing we'll talk about is average. And here I'm going to do average. So now to take average of sales, we're going to enter equal to. Don't forget that, very important. Then I'm going to type my average. Open a bracket, and I'm going to enter the range of file that I want to capture. I close the bracket and enter, and hit the enter key. So here now you have to, if you want to do it normally, we have our equal to, then you have we have 2000 plus 500 plus B4 plus this, and I'm going to put it in a bracket. I'm going to put this in a bracket. There's a reason for that, so that we get an accurate answer divided by, I'm going to divide it by the number of cells, 1, 2, 3, 4. So divided by 4, and we hit the enter key. Now we got the same answer. So that's how you calculate your average. The next thing we are going to look at is the sum if. The sum if. The sum if. So over here I'm going to type sum if. Sum if, and here I'm going to have my product. I'm going to have my product. So what I want to do right now is using the sum if function. So I'm going to enter equal to, then type my sum if. Now these are most common functions that we have in Microsoft Excel. If function. Now you see Microsoft is going to give you an idea of what you should enter within your function. So as you can see below right here, you see sum if. Now the first thing is asking me to enter is the range. So I'm going to select my product range, then put comma. So the next thing is the criteria. So the criteria is anything I typed here, I will want to see the total number of any product that I put here. So I'm going to put my criteria here. I'm going to select this cell as my criteria, so that if I type sort, it's going to give me the total number of sort that I have. So the next, I'm going to apply comma. The next, as you can see here, is sum range. So I'm going to highlight from here down to get my sum range. So when I'm through with that, I'm going to close the bracket and hit the enter key. Now I have 0 here because I've not entered any product here where I have my criteria. So if I enter sort here, for example, sort, and I click, so you're going to see that my sort is 387. Look at my first sort, which is 198. So if I calculate it, I have the first sort, which is 198, plus the other sort, which is this, and I hit the enter key. So you're going to have 387. So if I put Semo here, if I put Semo and hit the enter key, I'm going to have 470. You can see the Semo here is 220 and the other Semo here is 250. If you calculate both, it's going to give. So this is how to use a sum if formula. Okay, so the next we are going to look at is the count formula. So count formula. So I'm just going to do the count formula right here. So count, and basically we use count formula to know the number of cells that contain numbers. So I'm going to put equal to and type the function count and open a bracket. and enter value 1, value 2, and just do it like so, and close it. I need the enter key. So it's telling me 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let me do something. Let me type Gary here. Gary. Now if I click the equal to and type count and open my brackets and select the range that I want to count. You know, I've included the Gary now. I want you to observe what's going to happen. Then I close the bracket. I need the enter key. I'm still going to have 6. Why is it not counting Gary? Because Gary is not a number. So you use count to count only number. Now there is another one that you can use to count both number and text, and that is count. That's count A. So I'm going to have that this is a function. So you have counter or count A, something like that. So now I'm going to put equal to and enter my counter, and I'm going to open my bracket, select my range, close the bracket, and hit the enter key, and I have 7. You can see this is 7. You know, compared to when I used count gave me 6, but this is 7. Counter, we count text alongside with number. Then the other one we have a count blank cells. So we have count blank. Okay. So and I'm going to just remove this Gary so that I can have a blank cell. And here I will have my equal to. I'm going to type count blank, open my bracket, select my range, and now I'm selecting just one blank cell, close the bracket, hit the enter key, and I have one. I have only one blank cell. So count blank is going to count just the blank cell. Now we also have count if. We have count if as well. So I'm going to delete all of this. I'm going to delete this as well. Now for our count if. So the same way with sum if. So we are going to I'm going to have my product. I'm going to have so I'm going to type equal to, then I have my count if, open a bracket, and the first criteria is the range. Like I said, we always get an idea of what you will enter in your function. Next, put comma is criteria. So anything that I have in this box is going to count it for me here. So if I put sugar, I put salt, I have 2. So I'm going to close this and hit the enter key, so that in this criteria box, if I type salt, I'm supposed to have 2 there because I have 2 salt, 1 and 2. If I type sugar, it's going to give me 1 because I have only 1 sugar. That is 1 sugar. So that is how to use count if. So the next one we are going to look at is the if statement. The if statement. So this statement is part of the formula. So alright, for the if, don't forget we are just looking at basically we are looking at the common formulas that we have in Microsoft Excel. We have a lot of functions and formulas that you can use to manipulate data in Microsoft Excel. We are just concentrating on the basic ones. So if you have your if formula, so we have our equal to, then you have your if, and you open the brackets. It's going to give you an idea of what you should enter. So the first is a logical test. So what I'm going to do now, if if my cell H3, if cell H3 is if cell H3 is greater than 200, if cell H3 is greater than 200, that's my test. So what should happen? If the content of cell H3 is greater than 200, what should happen? So value if it's true. So if it's true, enter. If it's true, say good product in quotes. So I'm going to give a good product. And if it's not greater than 200, value if false, as you can see it here, value if false. So if it's not greater than 200, so I'm going to type not interested. So not interested, the enter key. So if it's greater than, you can see here, this is not greater than 200, so not interested. So if we use our fill handle to fill in the rest, so you have good product, this is 250, this is 250 is greater than 200, so you have good product. 320 is greater than 200, good product. 220 is greater than 200, good product. 189 is greater than 200, not interested. So that's how to use your if. So you can actually use your if to do so many things. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to have this deleted, and you can use true or false, yes or no. So if you go again and we type our equal to, don't forget, equal to if, and we have if 200, if our cell H3 is equal to 200, then that's if it's true, type yes or display yes. So I'm going to have yes. Okay, let's do less than this time around. So if it's less than 200, display yes. And if it's greater than 200, display no. Right? So I hit the enter key here. You can see it is no. I come this way, you have yes. If it's less than 200, say yes. So that's how to use your if function. So the next thing I want us to look at is the V lookup, and this is the last one we are going to look at. We're going to look at V lookup and data validation. But before we look at V lookup, I want you to look at the top where you have editing. You have these auto sum. If you click here, count numbers, maximum, minimum. So if I come down here and I want to get the sum. If I want to get the sum, the total of everything here, I can easily click on sum and hit the enter key, and it's going to give it to me. And if I want to do average as well, I can click here, click on average, but I'm not going to change the direction and then move it and hit the enter. So I'm going to have my average. So if I want to know the maximum or maximum, I can just select the range that I want to know. You can even select everything here like this and click the enter. It's going to tell you the highest number that you have here. So you can do minimum as well. So if you want to get minimum, you can go under editing. You have your auto sum. Click on this arrow, click on minimum, and you can select the range and hit the enter key to get your minimum. All right. So if you click here too, you can access more functions. When you click on more functions, you can also access, like I said, you have more than 200 functions that you can make use of here in Microsoft Excel. Now I said the last part of our formulas and functions is VLOOKUP and data validation. So we are going to use this table for our VLOOKUP. So all you need to do is just enter all of these data. You have name, email, phone number, salary. So now I'm going to look up some information about John. I have my name, so I have name here, so I have John. Okay, so I want to look up John's email. So to do that, I'm going to use VLOOKUP formula. I have VLOOKUP and open a bracket, and like I said, it's going to give you an idea of the value you should enter. So lookup value, I want to look up John details. Then table array, so this is the table array. I'm going to highlight the content I have in the table. Then the next is okay, when I click on John, I didn't put comma. So now the next is we have table array. The next is column index. So column index, I'm looking up email, so I have column 1, column 2. So I'm going to put 2 here. And the next is range lookup. I'm going to put false there. So I have false. Then I'm going to close and hit the enter key, so you can see I have this email. Now one beautiful thing about the lookup is this: if I type another name here, if I type Bolu here for example, it's going to give me the email of Bolu. As you can see, it's going to automatically give me the email of Bolu. So if you have a large data and you want to retrieve information very easily, you can use a VLOOKUP. So I'm going to look up phone number as well. So I have my equal to, and then I have VLOOKUP function. I open brackets, and I'm going looking up this. I'm looking over this cell. Then apply a comma, table array, and then add comma. The next is column index. So what we are looking at is phone number. So the column is column 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put 3 here. Then I will add false as well. So false. I'm going to close this. I need the enter key. So now this is Bolu. You can see I have Bolu 541. So let's look up the salary as well. So I have equal to VLOOKUP. You can look up in another sheet as well, not just on the sheet that you are in. Okay, so I open a bracket, and I select a lookup value, what I'm looking up, apply a comma, and table array, highlight the content of the table, and apply a comma, and also column index, this time around salary, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put 4 here, and add false. So I have false here, and close it, then hit the enter key. And now if I type any name here, I'm going to get all of the information. So if I type Emeka here, for example, Emeka, and you hit the enter, you're going to get information about Emeka. So now lastly, what I want us to do, instead of typing name and all of that, you can actually use data validation. So if you go to data, and you can use list under data validation. Okay, so we are going to use data validation to make it a list. So click on data, and then under data tools, it depends on the version you are using, but under data tools you are going to see data validation is right here. So you have data validation here. So you click, and then you have click on data validation. It's going to show you this box. And now in this box, you have allow any value. So you're going to click here and choose list. Now to capture our list, you're going to click on this arrow and select the list of names that you want to be in your list, and then click the arrow again and click OK. After clicking OK, you have this small arrow here that will allow you to select any name that you want to look up your information. If you have a big table, this is easier. Let's say you have a table of 1,000 people, and you just click on the name. It brings up all their details. Click up love, and these are details. Bolu, these are details. John, these are details. So data validation, as you know, this tutorial is just for beginners level. You can use VLOOKUP to look up information in other sheets. If you have up to 10 sheets, you can actually look up information from other sheets. But this is a basic thing you need to know about VLOOKUP. So that we conclude our formulas and functions lesson. So the next lesson we are going to talk about relative and absolute values. Relative and absolute. Welcome to the next lesson in our Microsoft Excel tutorial. In this lesson, we are going to look at relative and absolute value. Now, when we talk about relative value, as you can see on my screen, I have some set of data here. I can calculate total of this by entering equals to and typing a function sum, open a bracket, and select my range of data and close the bracket. You need the enter key to calculate sum. This is the sum total of the data that I have on from B5 to D5. Now, if I want to get the answer to the rest of the data that I have, I want to calculate the rest of the total. I'm going to move this mouse. If it turns to this dark plus or cross, I'm going to drag down like this to get the other answers. Now, if you look at the formula here, we have B5 and D5. Then automatically it picks the next cell address to calculate the next total. So that is what we refer to as relative value. So it's going to use as you can see here, we have it's going to pick B6 to D6 and so on. So that is relative value. It's going to pick the value that is related to that cell and use it in calculation to get total. But let's do calculation for our commission. Now, I don't want you to forget this. Relative value is picking cell address or cell name that is related to the particular data in order to calculate. You can see that formula can be duplicated right here. So now, to explain absolute value, if we want to get 10% commission rate, we want to calculate 10% commission rate for each of these total. Now, I'm going to put my equal to here. Then I'll select cell E5 times, use asterisks as times. Then I'm going to select the commission rate, which is 10%, and I'm going to hit my enter key. So this is our commission rate right here. If I use the same method of duplicating content, it's not going to work, because the Excel is not going to understand that, it's going to see if I let me enable this formula now. You can see you have your E6 and you have your F3. So relatively it's going to pick the next line, and there is nothing in the next line. So we want this F2 to be fixed. We want Excel to use this F2 to generate the rest of the result without moving to the next line. When I explain the relative value, it's going to move the next line. Use this cell address to calculate for the new total. But in this case, you can see that by default, Excel is set to calculate using relative value. So it moves to the next line. And if I enable the formula here, if I double click to enable the formula, you see we have F4 here. So it moves down to F4. And in F4, we don't have 10%, we have commission. So how do you do it? How do you make this F2 to be fixed? So that is what that's what I'm going to explain right now. And that is what is called absolute value. So right here, I'm going to type my equal to and then get my E5, then times, that's asterisk, 10%. So how can I make this fixed? So to make the 10% fixed here, so that you can be able to duplicate for the rest of the answer, you are going to put in front of F, you're going to put a $sign, and in front of 2, you also put a $sign. So by doing this, you have made this an absolute reference, or an absolute value. That's this particular F2. So it's going to be used to multiply the rest of the cell address to generate a proper answer. So let me hit the enter key. So you have your answer 121. So if I duplicate it right now, it's going to give me accurate of the commission rate accurate here. As you can see, this one just 10% of 720 is 72, 10% of 970 is 97, and so on and so forth. So that is the difference between relative and absolute value. Alright, so the next thing we are going to look at is three-dimensional formula in Microsoft Excel. To use our three-dimensional formula, I'm going to add additional sheets to our existing sheet. So we're going to insert another sheet. Now I'm just going to copy, Ctrl C to copy, then on sheet 4 I'm going to paste. Now what I want to do is on my summary sheet, we have sheet 5, I'm going to copy and paste as well. So what I want to do here is to take the total of what I have on my, to take the sum of what I have from this cell. This is 110. This is 110, and my sheet 3, there's no data. My sheet 5, there's data, and here is sheet 1, there's data. So I'm going to remove these sheets. Right click and delete sheet if you want to remove sheet. Now if you observe on my sheet 1, the quarter 1 data is missing. Sheet 5, quarter 1 data is missing. My sheet 4, the quarter 1 data is missing as well. Now I want to use this to explain something about this three-dimensional formula as well. If you hold on your shift key and you highlight all of the sheets, sheet 4, sheet 5, sheet 1, you can rename these sheets. They are not properly labeled. You can relabel them by just right clicking and clicking on rename. So if you hold on Shift key and you highlight these 4 sheets, if I type 110 here, it's going to show on the rest of the sheets. It's going to show on sheet 4, as you can see, sheet 5 and sheet 1. So if I come down to to my 3D formula, if I type tons, you're going to see it here, and you're going to see it here, you're going to see it here, because they all are highlighted. And if I delete, it's going to remove it from the sheet, as long as they are all highlighted. You can see 3D formula, sheet 4, sheet 5 and sheet 1 are highlighted. Now, to using our 3D formula to calculate the sum of our sheet 4, 5, sheet 1, and I think I'm just going to label this sheet 1, sheet 2. So you just go to rename. I'm going to give this 1. Then my sheet 4, I'm going to rename it to my sheet 5. I'm going to rename it to 3. And my sheet 1, I'm going to rename it to 4. So I'll go to my summary, click on quota 1, type equals to, then you type a function, some function, open bracket, and you can now go back to your sheet 1 and select what you want to add up. Hold on the shift key, select the sheet 4 to select sheet 1, 2 and 3 and 4, then hit the enter key, and as you can see, automatically in my summary sheet I have the sum of sheet 1, which is 110 plus 110 plus 110 and plus 110 that we have here. Then we have 440, and you can use the mouse function to also duplicate this. I can just once it turns to this dark cross, I can move it across, and it's going to supply that answer. It's going to supply that answer. So no total calculation. If you check our sheet 1, there's no total calculation. So if you go to our summary sheet as well, you can do it for the column aspect as well. So we have a summary sheet of sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 and sheet 4. This is a summary sheet using 3-dimensional formula to calculate the summary of sheet 1, 2, 3 and 4. If you look at this, this is 1, 2. If I go to my first sheet, I have 300 here. So if you have 300 plus 300 plus 300 plus 300, that's going to give you 1, 2. So it's very correct. So that is how to use your 3-dimensional formula. The next thing I want us to look at is loan calculation. How to use Microsoft Excel to calculate loan. Now let's say you take a loan of 100,000 and at 5% rate. This 5% is per annum, and you are going to pay in 6 months. So how do you calculate your monthly payment? You take a loan of 100,000. It could be 1 million. It could be 500,000. Take a loan of 100,000 at 5% rate per annum, and then you have 6 months to pay the loan. So how do you calculate monthly payment? So to calculate your monthly payment, you click on equal to, go to where you have function, you have a insert function. Now you look for PMT. We use a PMT to calculate loan. So you use PMT, click on, when you see PMT, click on OK. You're going to see this. Now the first is your rate. Now don't forget that 5% is your annual rate. So to calculate monthly rate, you have a 5% divided by 12. That's to calculate your monthly rate. Then NPER, if you click on this, you see NPER is the total number of payments for the loan. Calculate the payment for loan based on constant payment and a constant interest rate. So your NPR is 6 months. You're going to use 6 months for the payment, and your PV, if you click on the PV, you're going to see PV is the present value, the total amount that a series of future payment is worth now. So your principal amount is 100,000. So you're going to click on this, and when you are through with that, click on OK. Once you click on OK, you're going to get the amount you'll be paying monthly. So monthly you're going to be paying 16,000. I'm going to change this to Naira, because let me change it. If you want to change to Naira, all you need to do is you go to your home tab and you have currency. Under currency here, go to more number format. Then under number format, click on currency again. Click on symbol. Where you have symbol, then you scroll, you're going to see Naira. As you can see, you have Naira. So you can select any of these. I'm going to just select this and click OK. So you're going to be paying 16,910 Naira 56 kobo monthly. So if you borrowed, if you take a loan rather of 100,000 Naira, so that is how to do loan calculation. So very simple and straightforward. Now the next lesson I want us to look at is how to work with large files. You will often come across large files in Microsoft Excel. Now this is an example. Now if you are working in Microsoft Excel, you see something like this, it means the space of the cell is not enough for the data that you have within that cell. So all you need to do is expand the cell by double clicking or by just dragging. When you move your mouse to this point, you can drag or double click to expand the cell. So that's what it means. If I decrease the cell now, it's going to show me this hash symbol, but you can just expand it to see it. So I'm working with large file. If you want to work with large file, definitely you need to use your scroll bar, to scroll up and down the cell. Another thing you can do is, if you want to locate a file, let's say I want to locate this file right here, you can type the address of the file, which is B24. So let's say I'm at the top here, I can easily type the B24 here, and it's going to take me straight to that particular file that I'm looking for. Now, other things we can do with large file, you can use what is called split screen. If you go to view, you're going to see split. So if I want to split from my from this point, I can click on view, then I'll click on my split screen. It's going to divide my screen into two, so I can scroll scroll up and down to have access to other content. Then you can see that my page has been divided into two, so I have this other one here as well to have quick access to any of the content. And if you want to remove your split screen, just move this splitter up, and it's going to go, or you just go to your view and click on split again, and it's going to unsplit. Now let's say you want a situation where you want to make this your header to be fixed, the employee ID, last name, first name, department, and so on. You want it to be fixed. Like if I scroll down now, it's going to disappear. So I want it to be fixed at the top here, so that if I scroll down, I'm still going to be seeing all of my header title. So what you can do under view as well, you're going to use freeze pane. So you click on freeze pane, but you must select the cell below the header that you want to fix. You can see I'm going to fix this first row, so I'm going to click on the second row, something like you can click on any cell on the second row, then you go to your view and click on freeze, select the first one. So it's going to freeze my header. Now note that if you want to print this file, you have to unfreeze so that it's going to print. If not, it won't. The header is not going to print out. So now, if I start scrolling, you can see that the header is fixed. So if I scroll down to have access to other data, the header is fixed. So that is how to fix an header. If I click on Ctrl P. Ctrl P is used to print. So if you print out this document, the header is not going to show because it's freezed. So now to unfreeze, just go to your view and click on freeze pane, and you see unfreeze pane. So if I scroll down, you see that the header is no longer freezed. So these are various ways you can work with your large files. In this lesson, we are going to look at page setup and print setup. Okay, to look at page setup and print setup, I want us to start with header and footer. To access your header and footer, you can access your header and footer by coming down here. We have three views here: normal view, page layout view, and page break preview. So you're going to click on page layout view. Now move up, you're going to see add header. So here, if you click here, you have access to header and footer tools that you can use to add your header and footer. Now you can use some of these header and footer elements to add content to your header and footer page. So if you want to add page number or number of pages, you have current date, and you have file name, and you have a sheet name, then you have pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my name here. Then at the left side, I'm going to add page number, and I'm going to add current time, current date. Then at the right, I'm going to add current time. So if I click on my normal view, so like I said, you click on your page layout view to enter your footer, but if you click outside of the footer, you're not going to have access to these tools. As you can see, once I click somewhere else, the header and footer tools disappears. So but if you click back, you're going to have access to header and footer tools. So once you are through, you can now click on normal view, and that is how you add header and footer. If I go to my print preview, you're going to see my header at the top here. You can see the date, you can see my name, then you can see the time. If you want to add a footer, you do the same thing. So if you go to page layout view and you scroll down, you're going to see the footer section, add footer. So if you click on header and footer tools, you can add header and footer. Then if you need header and footer template, you can come here. Right here we have header templates that you can work with. So as you can see here, we have some header templates that you can work with. Also, we have footer template you can work with right there. So another way to access your header, not enable, in my page layout. So what I'm going to do, I'll go to File and go to Options. Then I'm going to click on Customize Ribbon. I will now move to where I have my page layout. Right here, where I have my page layout. So then I'm going to look for header and footer. I'm going to select all commands, then move to where I have header, look for header. That should be H. Okay, should be somewhere around here. So this is my header and footer. Now to add a header and footer to my page layout, I'm going to create a new group. I'm going to rename my group. I'm just going to give it H and F. I'll click OK. Then I'm going to add, as you can see, I've selected header and footer right here. And I'm going to click on Add to add my header and footer. Then I'll click OK. Then it should be here right now. You can see it here. So if you are looking for any command and it's not in the ribbon, you can go to Options, and then you go to Customize Ribbon and add the particular command. So right here I can now access my header and footer. Right, so I can adjust what I have here, write my name here, include whatever I want to include over there. You can also adjust your footer. And the next thing I want us to look at is print titles. So if you have 3 pages, 4 or 5 pages, and you want your title to be printed on all of your pages, I mean your header title to be printed on all of your pages. Now right now we have this title on only the first page. If I go to print preview, Ctrl P, and this is my page 1, you can see I have my employee ID, last name, first name. If I go to page 2, I'm not going to see it. I go to page 3, it's not there. So to print your title on all pages, you go to page layout rather, you go to page layouts, and under page layout you're going to see print titles. So click on print titles, and we have different sections. We have page, margin, header, then you have sheet. So under sheet you're going to see rows to repeat at the top. So rows to repeat at the top, you can click on this arrow and select the row you want to be repeated. Now we can't select the first row because we have merged cells in the first row, so it's not going to work. If I select this, if I hold on my control key and select the employee's record, and I go back to my sheet page and click OK, it's not going to work. Print titles must be contiguous and complete row or column. So I'm going to click OK and delete this. Then I'm going to select this, only this, and click. Then I can now click OK. So if I go back to my print preview and I move on to second page, you can see that the header my title header is right here on all the pages. So if I move to the next page, you can see it. So that's how to print titles on all of your pages. Okay. The next thing I want us to look at is working with comments. Now, if you want to write a comment, if you want to attach comment to any cell, all you need to do is right click on that particular cell, and then you're going to see new comment, and you can type. I can type Mrs. Debo. Mrs. Debo is the best art staff. So these are to add comments, and you can just click to add the comment. You can see Mrs. Debo is the best art staff. You can click on this pencil tool to edit your comment, and then you have these three dots in case you want to delete the comment. Alright, so if you see any cell with this sign, it means that cell contains comments. And also, there is a way you can print your comments. If you are printing your final, if you are doing your final printing, so you can print your comments. Your comment is not going to print automatically. You must tell you must tell Excel to print your comments. So how do you do that? You go to page layout and click on this arrow to see more commands, and under sheets you're going to see comments and notes. So you can come here and print your comment at the end of the sheet, or you can print the comment as displayed on the sheet. So I'm going to select at the end of the sheet, and if you go to print preview and I move on to my last page, you're going to see the comment. So the comment is at cell C8, and the comment is by Emmanuel Adefolaju. Mrs. Debo is the best art staff. So it's going to print it out this way, so that anybody going through the printout can easily check cell C8 and understand that this comment belongs to this person. So that is how to print comments in Microsoft Excel. That's how to work with comments. Now the next thing I want us to look at is the page setup options that we have. So if you go to page layout, most of the what we are doing right now is everything is on page layout. Now the first thing you see here is margins. So if I click on the margins, or if I click on this arrow and I click on margins, you can see that we have 6 types of margins. You have the top, bottom, left, right, header and footer. So you can reset your margin from this point. So if you click on the top arrow, you can reset your margin the way you want it. Okay. So but this, if you come right here where you have margins, so you can see these are quick ways of actually adjusting your margin. You have the normal, which is 0.7, and you have the wide, and you have the narrow margins. Okay, now the next one is a page orientation. If you observe my page, if I click on if I go to my page layout, you see that there's a page break somewhere. So if I check my print preview, you're going to see that this part is not captured in my print preview, so it means that it's not going to print this part. With this, it's going to print this separately as a page. So, but if we do landscape, you can see that it captures the whole of my content, but I'm still having an extra column right here. Okay, so but we are going to correct this here, and if you go to page break view, because we're in landscape, you can see it has absorbed the other section. But if I change it to, if I want to print it, if I want to print portrait, you see it's not going to print this aspect, but you can adjust. You can actually adjust it from here. Okay, so we are going to come to that. If you move these, this line and you drag it to this point, so it's going to correct automatically. So if I check my print preview right now, if I go to my normal view and Ctrl P to check my print preview, you can see the last column that I have here is salary, but before adjusting it, it didn't capture hire date and salary. So that is how to adjust your page. So you just go to page break preview, and just if the line is here, drag it to this point. Okay, now we call it scaling. As you can see, scale to fit. So if I increase the scaling here to 100, if I go to my print preview, if I go to my normal view and go to print preview, it's not going to capture. You can see this location couldn't even capture what I have in my location. But if I go to my my scaling, now I cannot actually get I can experiment with my scale to see if it's going to waste time. But the best way to adjust your scale is to come to the page break and just move this line to this point, and you can see that if we give you accurate scale, that will capture all of the contents that you have in that particular sheet. Alright, so still on page layout, if you go to size, you have different paper size that you can print on. You have A4 is very common, and others. So the other part is print area. Let's assume that you don't want to print everything on this page. You just want to capture from 1 to 10. So you can set your print area. You can come right here and set print area, and it's going to capture only what you've highlighted. So I'm going to click on Ctrl P, as you can see. So we just have number 1 to 10. So in case you don't want to print all the record that you have in your sheet, you can actually capture the section that you want to print, and it's going to print it for you, and then you just set your print area. Okay, so here we have breaks, so you can insert a page break. So if I move down here, I have a break here, so this should be the end of first page. You can see the end of second page, and you have the third page. So if you come right here, now you have to delete your print area. If I go to my print area, I'm going to clear print area so that it's not going to affect the other printing that I'll be doing. Okay, so you can remove reset all page break. Like this is shortcut here, page break preview. I've just done reset, so I can move this back. Then I can scroll down to check my page 1. That's going to be my page 1, then page 2, and my page 3. So go to normal page. Okay, so now we see we also have background on the page layout. If you click on background, you can select pictures online, or you can select pictures offline. If you are connected, you have hundreds of pictures you can work with online. So I'm going to select work offline. It means I'm going to insert pictures from my computer. So I'm going to look for the picture location. I'm just going to use this picture. So you have this picture at your background, but this picture is not going to print with your sheet. So as you can see right here. Okay, so I'm going to remove the background. So delete background by just clicking on delete background. Now I'm still going to click on this arrow so that I can talk more about other aspects or other tools that you have here. So if you go to sheet, for example, you can print grid lines. Now if you want to print rows and column, you want to print what you have here. You want to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's your rows, or you want to print A, B, C, D, that's your column. So I'm going to click on it again and go to my sheet, and if I enable print row and column headings, and I check my print preview, you can see that I have 1, 2, 3, that's the row, and I have your A, B, C, D. So that is how to include row heading and column heading in your printing. Alright, so let's see other things that we have there under sheet. If you want to print your grid line, you can enable that. If you want to print it black and white, you can also enable that. Okay, so we've talked about header and footer, we've talked about margin, and also we've talked about a page. You can print in landscape, you can print in portrait. So I think that will be all for page setup and print setup. The next lesson I want us to look at is adding and deleting rows and columns. If you want to delete a row, all you need to do is just click on the row, and under your home tab you are going to see delete, and the row is going to delete. If you want to delete a column, just click and hit delete, and it's going to that column is going to be deleted. So if you want to add a column, just click to highlight, click on the column heading to highlight, and you click insert, and it's going to insert your row. If you want to insert two column, all you need to do is highlight two column and click insert. It's going to insert two column for you. The same thing with the row. If you click on the row and you click insert, it's going to insert two rows for you. If you want to insert two rows, just click and hold on your control, click again and click insert, and it's going to give you two rows. So that is how to insert and delete. You can use this button under cell to insert and delete rows. The next thing I want us to talk about is copy, cut, and paste. If you have been using any application you should be used to copy, cut, and paste. Now, copy means to duplicate a content. So if I insert a row here, I'm going to insert a row, and I can copy this content here using Ctrl C, or you just use copy here under clipboard home. Under clipboard, you can just click on copy, and you can select the empty row that you want to paste it and click on paste, or you do Ctrl V. So I'm going to paste it right here. So that is how to copy. Now, copy means you are duplicating a content, but to cut means you are moving that content. So if you want to remove these dancing lines on your sheet, just hit the escape key. So I'm going to copy this again. Now this time around I'm going to cut, so that is Ctrl X to cut. So that is this scissors right here. You can see cut, Ctrl X. So I'm going to click and click here and hit my paste. That's Ctrl V. It's going to move it. As you can see, you know, the content is no longer available here. Alright, so that is how to copy and cut. Now what about paste? And we just paste it, but we have paste options actually. So if I copy this, if I copy this and I create a new sheet, insert a new sheet, and I paste what I have there. Now let me paste another one here. If I right click and I move to paste, you're going to see different paste option. The first one is going to paste it, the first paste option. Then here you have values. You have values. There is difference between the first one and the second one, which is ordinary, which is only values. Then the third one, which is formulas. And you have another paste option here. This one is transpose. So what transpose means is we are now inverting the rows and the column. Now if I use the transpose option, now you see that over here you have the numbers now here. Then you now have the headers here. So if you have an option, if you have a situation where you need to invert what you have, maybe you want to move the content here to this section, and what you have at the top you want to move it to this section. So you use the transpose paste option to do that. Okay, so let's look at the other paste option that we have. This is transpose. Then here we have formatting, and then here we have paste link. Okay, so those are the then we have paste special. So those are the paste options that we have. So you have your paste, then you have paste values, you have other paste options that you can use. Alright, so that is what we have for that, for cut, copy, and paste. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you for watching, and please do subscribe to my channel so that I can create more content like this. In our next lesson, we are going to be looking at some data analytic tools in Microsoft Excel, and one of these data analytic tools is tables. Now what we have right now is just a list of data Now we can convert this list of data to a table. Now to convert to table, your cursor should be within your list. Now the first thing that is important to note is your list must have heading, or must have an header, and the headers must be unique header. Now what do I mean by unique header? It means like you have location here, you can't have another location, but you can have location 1 and location 2. So the headers must be unique. Now also the content of your list must also be unique from the header. So you don't want to have any word that you have in the header within the table. Now the third criteria for converting a list to a table is that you mustn't have a blank space within your table. You must have a complete list or a complete data set for you to convert your list to table. Now how do you convert to table? Just make sure that your cursor is within your list. Go to insert, then you're going to see table. Click on table, and it's going to capture all of your list because you have your cursor within your list. And as you can see here, my table has headers. Like I said, your table must have a unique header. So you can click OK. Now after clicking OK, now one of the things you will notice is that you now have this tab called table design. So you have access to these analytic tools to be able to analyze these table right now. So now if you look at, we have a summarize with pivot table, remove duplicate. If you have duplicate in this table, you can use remove duplicate to remove whatever duplicate you have here. So if I click on remove duplicate, for example, and I'm just going to use employee ID. I'm going to unselect all and use employee ID. Is a unique data that can be used to represent all of the other data. So if I click OK, no duplicate value found. So if I decide to duplicate this value, for example, if I copy this and paste here, and I'm going to hit the escape key. If you notice, there is one sign here. There's one green sign here that indicates that this is the end of your table, and it's not going to. The last information is not part of the table. But let me see if you can duplicate that. Okay, I'm going to undo that, and but you can actually add these. Okay, so to add this new information to my table, as you can see that the table ends here. So I'm going to click on my table, and I'm going to click on resize table, and now I have my last row to be 26. If you scroll down, you're going to see that you have row 26. So I'm going to change this 26 to 27 here. I'm just going to delete this 6 and make it 7 and click OK. So you can see that it has captured this this last row. But I'm still having something here. This is 25, 26, and I'm going to use the ID, to get out the duplicate. So I'm going to change this to 26. Actually, the formula, which is +1, I'm going just to put 27. No, I'm going to put 25. I want it to be 25. Okay, so now if I go back to my table design and click on remove duplicate and use my employee ID, and click OK, you're going to see 1 duplicate value found and removed. 25 unique values remain. So if you have a duplicate and you want to remove the duplicate, you can use remove duplicate. Now also another one of the data analytic tool that is available in your table is the slicer. So if I insert the slicer, for example, you can actually use the slicer in sorting. You can use the slicer in sorting. Okay, so I'm going to use I'm going to create for location, and I'm going to click OK. Now in this table we have 3 locations. So as you can see, if I click Egbeda, it's going to give me all the information I have that relate to Egbeda location. If I click Ikeja, it's going to give me this. If I click Lekki, it's going to give me all the information that I have there in Lekki. So that is how to use slicer. So I've just, if you click here, it means you want to use multiple select. So you want to select multiple places. So that's Ikeja and Lekki. So, but if I select this and click only Ikeja, I'm only going to have Ikeja. All right. So this is one way to sort your information to get out certain detail in your table. All right. So I'm going to just select all the 3 locations and delete the slicer. Now you can also sort. If you click on table design, you have you can also use sort. Now if you look you can use filter, what is called filter. So if you look at each of these header here, you're going to see an arrow pointing down. That is your filter arrow. So if you click on this, you can actually sort. So this is hire date, and you want to check all employee that was hired in 2000. So you select 2000 and you click OK. So you're going to have all of these employees that were hired in the year 2000. So if you also want to sort using salary, and you want to check for employee collecting $120, so you can click and hit OK, and it's just Sunday schedule as collecting. So you can also sort here by right here we have only Ikeja. I'm just going to take it back to all and click OK. I'm going to change the filter here as well. I'm going to select all and click OK. So if you want to do it by department, you want to sort by department, you can click science and click OK. So you have all of these people in science department, and you're going to see this filter icon here. So anytime you are working with a sheet with this particular filter icon, you should know that there's a filter here, and this is not the entire data. So, and if at all you see these, if you see the row label, you see 1, 2, 3 to 7. So between 3 and 7 we have data. They're from 7 to 10. So you know that data are hidden, and this is just a filter set. Okay, so those are the advantages of creating tables. It gives you access to use filter or slicer in sorting your data or getting a particular content that you need. So the next thing I want us to talk about is we have custom sorting. We also have custom sorting. So I'm going to remove this filter that we have in department. I'm going to click OK. So now there's something called flash field. Before we talk about custom sorting, there's something called flash field. So I'm going to create another column right here. That's for my full name. So I'm just going to I'll go to home and click insert. So this column, I'm going to rename this column to full name. Full name. Okay, so now here I want to talk about flash field. And if I write the full name here, Sunday Siju, I can use flash field to fill in the rest full name, that's last name and surname. Can you flash field? And flash field is under data. So you click on data, and you have outline. So you click on data. If you click on data, you have data under data tool. Under data tools, you have a flash field under data tool, and this is it. As you can see, the symbol of flash is there. So clicking on this is going to fill in the rest, of the name. So all you need to do is just to enter the first and use a flash field to fill in the rest of the full name, that is last name and surname. Okay, so that is how to use a flash field. Now let's talk about sorting data. Let's talk about sorting. If you click on data, and you have a sort and filter right here, so you can sort from lowest to highest, that sorts A to Z, and you can sort from highest to lowest, sort Z to A. These are the normal sorting that we know. So, but let's say you want to perform a multi-level sorting, then you can use these sorts here. If you click this, this is going to allow you to do multi-level sorting. Now let's say you want to use full name to sort first. You want to sort by full name first. You have set value A to Z. Then you can click on add another level, and you want to sort by location this time around. So you want the computer to sort first by full name, then also by location, and you click OK. So then you're going to have it here. As you can see there's this sort icon here, and another location you have this sort icon. So we call it multi-level sorting. So that is how you can add multi-level sorting. Okay, so our next lesson is going to be subtotal. So we are going to use this file here. I'm going to add a link to the description so that you can download this file in case you want to work with this file as you go through the tutorial. So we are going to do subtotal of these data. So now we have a product, we have customer, we have Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Port Harcourt. Okay, so now to do subtotal of these content, in this subtotal tutorial, we are going to use this table to calculate our subtotal. So the first thing you need to do when calculating subtotal is to make sure that your table or your data is sorted. So we're going to sort these data. We're going to sort A to Z from lowest to highest, and also the next thing we're going to do after sorting is to add subtotal. To add subtotal, subtotal simply means like in Lagos, I want to know the number of cement sold in Lagos, and I want to know the number of cement sold in Abuja, and the same for each of these products, because right now this table is not completely readable. Because if I want to know the number of cement sold, number of rice sold in Lagos, and I'm going to start calculating and all of that, but Excel can do it for you. You can calculate subtotal of Lagos rice sold, in Abuja cement sold rather, in Kano rice sold, and also in Port Harcourt salt sold, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to click on my data tab and go to outline and click on subtotal. Now if you want to know for products Lagos, Abuja, you just want subtotal for subtotal for all of these, you can select everything and click OK, and it's going to give you just that. So now if you look at this point here, you have three sections. This is section 1, section 2, section 3. Now if you move down this table, you're going to see subtotal. Now this is subtotal for cement, as you can see it here. Cement total for Lagos. If I'm going to freeze this header, so I hope you've not forgotten how to do that. So if you go to page layout, I'm going to select this, go to my insert, okay, so I'm going to freeze my header. So to freeze your header, you go to view, you click on view, then you click on freeze pane, and you select this. So I'm supposed to click, I'm just going to undo this. So I'm going to click below the row that I want to freeze. I want to freeze the whole of this header. So I'm going to click on view, then freeze pane, and okay, I've not unfreeze, so freeze and then freeze this. So if I scroll down, it's going to be at the top. Now as you can see, you have for cement, subtotal, you have for rice, you have salt total for salt, and for the rest of the product, then you have sugar, then you have grand total. Now if you look at, you have three sections here. If you look at the first section, you have your grand total here for Lagos, Abuja, Kano. This is readable, so you know the state that is doing very well. Alright, so if you click on the second section, you're going to see for rice, this is Lagos cement, and you have some more. These are subtotals for each of the states and each of the products. Then you have your grand total. So this is readable, so you can actually make decision with these subtotal, with this data, compared to number 3, where you have compared to your table, your list that you don't know the actual total, and you have all of this data like this. So that is the essence of subtotal. Now the next lesson that we have here is charts. So here you are going to learn the different types of charts that we have in Excel, and how you can represent data with charts in Microsoft Excel. Now charts is just a pictorial representation of data. This is an example of your data or your table. So to have a pictorial representation of this data is what is referred to as a graph or chart. Alright, so now let's to insert a chart, you go to insert, and then you have this command group. You have under charts, you have all of these examples of charts. Now, based on the table you have, Excel will show you recommended charts. If you click here, you're going to see recommended charts. So it's going to recommend all of these charts to you based on your table. So based on your table, it's going to recommend any of these charts. So as you can see, you can use this. If you click OK, you're going to have your chart, your chart right here. So now we have chart title, so you can put your title here that says report. So say report, and apart from the chart title, you also have chart styles. So we have chart elements here. We have these are shortcuts, and we have a chart filter right here. So we have chart styles here, but everything is right here also. So if you come here, you have our chart elements. You can add or remove grid lines. If you want to remove your grid lines, you can just click on more grid lines option, and you can do no line, and it's good. You can see it clears the grid line. So if I do solid, you see the grid line. If I click on no line, you're going to see no line. So if you can go from here, if you click your chart elements here, and you can easily uncheck this. You can check this line, and whatever you don't want, you can check. You can uncheck or check whatever you don't want. So the same thing with the data label. You can enable data label on your chart. You have data table as well. You can enable this on your chart. You can uncheck it. You can disable it. You can disable the chart title. You can include it, and so on. So you can format and edit your chart using the chart elements, and these you have your chart style, just what you have here, what you have above here, basically that's the same with what you have here. So after editing your chart, or after editing and formatting your chart, and you like the chart, if you want to print the chart, just click on the chart and use Ctrl P. Use Ctrl P if you are printing only the chart. If you are printing only the chart, so use Ctrl P, then you have your chart here. You can select your printer, select the number of copies you want to print, and you have a print selected chart. So pages, this is just 1 to 1, so you have 1, and you have 1 here as well, and you have a landscape if you want it. Otherwise, you can select portrait, and you can select paper size here. This A4 using, and you can also adjust your margin right here. Okay, so that now we have so many examples of charts. So if I go to my insert, and if you go to your insert, you have more charts. You have more charts. So what I did was to click on this arrow here. You click on this arrow here, so you have more charts here. So you have line charts, you have a pie chart, you have bar charts, you have area chart. It depends on what you are working on. Then you have recommended charts here. You have all charts. So if we look at another data, and if you don't want your chart to be on these sheets, you can actually insert a chart sheet. So if you write and go to insert, and you select chart, you click OK, so you're going to have a chart sheet, sheet. Okay, so you can either create your chart using these chart sheets, or you create your chart within your sheet, and you can print direct as well. So let's assume I have this data. I have these two data that I want to use. I'm just going to paste them here. Let's I want to use this data here to create a chart. I will go to my insert and click on recommended chart. Yes, I guess it's going to show me pie chart. So a pie chart is used to show proportion of whole. Use it to show numbers that relate to larger sum and always equal to 100. So it's so easy. So whatever data you have, you can just go to the recommended chart and it's going to show you the different charts that is possible with the kind of data that you have. Also, you can use the chart elements to further work on your chart. Like here now, you can include data label, and you have other chart styles that you can use. Or you come here, you have your chart style here, then you have filter here. So you can filter as you want right here. So that is that about charts. Now the other lesson you'll be looking at is Sparklines. Sparklines is also another data analytic tools. So to insert your Sparkline, you select your data. Let me zoom this. Insert your Sparkline, select your data, and go to insert, and you're going to see Sparkline. So you see in this group you have Sparkline, you have line, column, and you have win/loss. So if I select line, it's going to capture the data range of A3 to E3, and here I'm going to look location range. I'm going to select this point here and click OK. So this is my Sparkline right here. So now what you can do here, you have the lowest point. You can see the lowest point. You can even change the Sparkline color if you want to. Then you have marker color as well. So highest points, you want highest point to be green, and you want lowest point. You want lowest point, to be certain color and so on. Okay, so let's do another one. I'm going to highlight the second, the fourth row, and go to my insert and click on Sparkline. This time around I'm going to use column. I'm going to select this point and click OK. So now we have this, and I want to my highest point. I want to change the color of the high point to red, as you can see, and the lowest point can be change the lowest point to be yellow. Okay, this color here. Okay, so, and I'm going to do the last one. If you highlight this and go to insert, click on the last one, which is win or loss. So I'm going to select this point and click OK. Alright, now to understand this, you must have a negative value. So let's have a negative 100 here. So if you have a negative 100 here, as you can see, so you have a negative 100. You can change the color. So this is another data analytic tool that can be used. So you've got negative points. The color can be this, or you can just leave the color to be red as a negative point. Right. So then, if you like a particular a particular one and you want to continue using it. So you can just duplicate the rest of your data, just for visualization. So you have all of that. So that is a Sparkline. It's also a data analytic tool. Basically, it allows you to see how a salesperson is doing, in each month. So you can, if you check the first one, you can see that April sale is high compared to January, February, and March. So for people that love visuals, this is a great tool for them, to work with. So you can see if this particular one is your favorite, you can just use it. So when somebody is doing, you can see that January the person was doing well, and February not doing well, and March, okay, this person here, March, February, they're not doing well. March, doing well, and April not doing well. So you can easily read this. If you look at this, you know that this is January, February. After January doing well, February, April, March, and April, nothing happened. So this is a great data analytic tool, and that'll be the end of our Sparkline lesson. And next lesson is going to be pivot table. Okay, the next lesson is pivot table. So a pivot table is also one of the data analytic tools that we have in Microsoft Excel. So if you have your data, or if you have your information right here, so you can create a pivot table it's also like a table. You can use it to summarize your information or content. If you look at this content right now, if you want to know the total of this customer purchase for cement in Lagos, it might be a little bit difficult. So, but what you can do is to create a pivot table so that you summarize the whole of this table. So how do you create a pivot table? You go to Insert, and you're going to see Pivot Table. Click on Pivot Table, and it will capture the content that you have on your list, and then I'm going to leave it to New Worksheet. You can create a pivot table on an existing worksheet, but I'm going to use a new worksheet. So I'm going to click OK, and what you are seeing right now is a pivot table, but nothing is inside yet, because I'm here to move content in here. So here you have drag field between areas below. So you have filters, you have column, you have rows, and you have values. So, and you have my header. So if we go to the source data, you have your header, product, custom, Lagos, Abuja, and so on. So you have all of that here. So now another thing I want to show you is this. If you click outside of your pivot table, the field list is going to disappear. So how can you get back the field list if it's not showing right here? Just locate pivot table, analyze, and then you're going to see field list here. So if I click on it, it's gone. If I click again, it's back. So now to create your pivot table, like I said, it's just used to summarize data. I'm going to move my customer. I'm going to leave customer here, row. I'm going to move product to column. Like I said, column are the vertical section. Column are the vertical section of your worksheet, while row are the horizontal. So I want my customer to be on the row, while I want my product to be on column. So now I have Lagos. I'm going to drag Lagos here. Okay, so as you can see that right here, this customer Asia is giving me the summary of this customer in Lagos, this customer purchase in Lagos, and other customers as well. So if I drag Abuja here, I'm also going to have some for Abuja, some for Lagos. That's for rice. You can see rice here. So some for Abuja for this customer now. Major for cement, I have some for Lagos. For this customer, some for Abuja. Nothing. Then some for Lagos for rice. I have this. Some for Abuja. And so I can just remove this by dragging this, and just I want to see Lagos, the customers, and they have purchased some in Lagos. Okay, so you can do for Kano. If I remove Lagos, I can do for Kano, and we're going to see these data. So if the person you are presenting this to is a visual person, you can actually create a pivot chart. So you just click on pivot chart and click OK. So the person is going to see this, and you can print this as well. So if that's a visual person. So that's about a pivot table. So basically you use pivot table to summarize data, and you have all of your heading here. You can move them around, just to summarize your data, to make your data more readable. That is the essence of pivot table, because if you look at the source data, everything is together, and it might be difficult for you to really get each customer's purchase in each state. Like you have this Asia here, you have Asia here, and and so on and so forth. It's difficult for you to put the customer and the product together. But with pivot table, you can have Asia. So you have rice purchase here, salt, if the person purchase salt, and then total. So for this Asia now, I think this person only purchased rice, and this Ajax also only purchased rice. Fixed right here, purchased cement, rice, semo, cement, rice, and semo. But to get that is difficult here. It's going to take time for you to get that. So that is pivot table. So if you look here, you have design, so you can adjust a pivot table design as you want. If you go to pivot table analyze, so you have more functions, like insert slicer. You can actually insert a slicer for use customer, insert a slicer for customer. So I'm going to select this and click OK. So I have all of my customer right here. So if I select this customer, it's going to give me data about this customer. So you can see this is a great summary tool or analytic tool, so that will make it's easier for you to really have an idea of what a customer has purchased, and the product that the customer hasn't purchased. So like here now, you even have the grand total. So if I click on Ajax, if I click on Fixed, you can see Fixed purchase cement, rice, and semo, and so on. So I'm going to clear this. So you can use the slicer to further filter your pivot table. So, and I think that should be all about pivot table. The last thing I want to discuss in this tutorial is how to protect your workbook and your worksheet. So to protect your workbook, let's say I want to protect this sheet, for example. You go to review. If you go to review, you're going to see protect sheet, and it will allow you to type your password, or you can right click here and you're going to see protect sheet. So if I type 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 as my password and click OK, I'm going to re-enter it 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I click OK. So this sheet is protected, it's passworded. So and I can unprotect this sheet. So how are you going to know if the sheet is protected? You can see I can't type. So the cell or chart you are trying to change is on a protected sheet. To make changes on protect the sheet, you might request to enter a password. So this sheet I can't change anything right now because the sheet is protected. So if you have sheets and you want to protect it, that's how you protect your sheet. So to unprotect this sheet, to be able to edit and type, I can just click on unprotect under review, and I'm going to type my password. Once you type the password, it's going to unprotect it, so I can type whatever I want to type right now. So that's protecting your worksheet. Now, how do you protect your workbook? Now, if you want to protect your workbook, you see protect workbook here under review. Protect workbook. You type your password. I'm going to type 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So it's the same thing. Once you protect the workbook, if you want to open the workbook, it's going to ask you to enter that password. So that's how you protect sheet and you protect workbook. Like I said, a workbook is the entire application. All of these sheets are within just a workbook, training workbook. Right, so that will be the end of this tutorial. That's Microsoft Excel tutorial. I believe you've learned a lot. I want you to subscribe to my channel, click on the like button, comment, and so to encourage me to work on more software that will benefit all of us. Thank you and thank you.